Hello and welcome. This is Danny Topf here again with another 5 minutes theme on missions. And today I'm recording from outside, as you can see. That's our garden where we live in Wisconsin, and fall is coming. So it kind of feels like as long as there's still a warm day, you want to be outside. Hope you are doing well, wherever you are. And today I want to share about my second mission trip I did with YWAM. So my first was my discipleship training school with YWAM in the Philippines. And then my second was also with YWAM, but going to Nepal. And this one was less an evangelistic outreach, which is one of the strengths that YWAM is known for, but more specifically, it was a teaching mission trip where we would go to different churches in Nepal and we would teach the inductive Bible study method there, maybe over a weekend or a couple of days. And the inductive Bible study method is based on the idea that it encourages you to read entire books in the Bible. So, for example, to read through the book of Matthew, right, from chapter 1 to chapter 28 several times, and to then ask questions of the text, questions like, who is acting here? Where are things happening? When are things happening? What are some of the repeated major themes? You ask those kind of questions before trying to do interpretation and application, which is what we often tend to do as Christians, right? We immediately want to jump to what does this text mean for me today, rather than first making careful observations in the text. And I love that outreach that we did with YWAM. I think it was like 10 weeks long or so. And I had a great time also because I realized this is so important that we do missions not only in the area of evangelism and of doing pioneer work, although that continues to be important, but increasingly wherever we go in the world, in many parts of the world, there will already be believers there. And some of that has only changed in the last 50 or 70 years or so, since the 1960s, maybe you could say, when reaching unreached people groups was emphasized. So, for example, in Nepal, before the 1960s, there were hardly any born-again believers. But now there are quite a number of believers and quite a number of churches in Nepal, even while at the same time, there are still also unreached people groups in Nepal. And so one of the things that we can do as believers and as missionaries, and maybe also especially as missionaries from the West who have certain resources, who have a certain education, we can invest in other believers and in churches and in church leaders in the majority world, in areas where the church is growing, and help them to gain greater clarity regarding what the Bible teaches, and to be more able to identify between the historic Christian doctrines as they have been affirmed by the church throughout history, and to contrast that with the many heresies and false teachings and superficial types of Christianity that unfortunately also can be found throughout the world. So if you are thinking about doing a missions trip as a church or as an individual, I want to encourage you to think about that. And maybe your next mission trip could be one that focuses on teaching, on equipping, on training, on mentoring people, very much so inspired by Ephesians 4, right, where God says that he has put in the church different kind of ministries, and the purpose of these ministries is to equip believers and to help them obtain maturity in Christ. So I want to leave you with that thought. Blessings, and see you next time. Bye.